you're wrong if you think you understand him. Everybody that's ever thought they understood him, anybody that ever thought they knew Trump, well, that's how he got you. And that's how he is where he is right now today, which is awesome. You know, whether you like him or you don't, the fact that he's there is very impressive. And I wouldn't necessarily look at what he says, but what he does.
Jake Lloyd for Infowars.com. I'm down here on South Congress today in Austin, Texas, to talk to people about the current issues with Donald Trump, DACA, and him working with the Democrats. Now, you see, Trump's base has been really divided over the past few days over the fact that it seems that he may be flip-flopping on DACA. Originally, he wanted to get rid of it. He rescinded it as an executive order and gave it to Congress, but now he seems to be working with Democrats to push it through. A lot of people are worried that he's flip-flopping. Some think that maybe he's just compromising to get increased border security, things along those lines. Others think that it's just good for him to be reaching across party lines on the Republican and the Democrat side. So we want to come out here and see how people of all different political backgrounds feel about Trump reaching across the political aisle, DACA, all the different stuff. So we're going to go talk to some people right now. What is you guys' opinion on DACA in general?
I think it's great. I think sending back the thousands and thousands of people who have already made their lives here, especially people in college and families and kids, just be horrifying.
I think it's unfair for the people that were maybe brought over here when they were 1 or 2. They didn't know that it was illegal, and they made a life here, and they've done extremely well, some of them, of course. Maybe not all of them, but it's not fair to send them back.
Okay, are you guys familiar with DACA in general, kind of what the deal is with that?
Honestly, I don't know.
Sorry, no.
Okay, so DACA is saying that, like, if people get brought over here illegally as children, then they can stay and essentially live here legally. So do you guys support, number one, Trump working with Democrats to get something like that done?
Well, I think children, first of all, should have as much as an opportunity as anybody. So I think that law should. I think that should. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with what you're saying too, but because I think that kids, like, they need an opportunity to grow too, just like everyone else. But then at the same time, I feel like by allowing that to happen, it almost.
You've got to uphold the law. You got to keep the standard, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you guys fans of Trump? Dislike Trump?
Dislike, definitely.
Well, I liked him and now mixed feelings. So
What makes you have mixed feelings?
I don't know, just how he's got since he's in office. Like, I don't agree with how he approaches certain subjects, and like, yeah.
Okay.
Touchy topic.
So I think it could be a good thing, yes.
Yeah, there definitely is a civil culture war, if you will. Now, a lot of I want to get your opinion because you said you're not a Republican or a Democrat. A lot of Trump's base says that he's like flip-flopping on DACA. Do you think that he's flip-flopping or that he's just making a compromise saying, like, look, you got to give some to get some?
Well, I think he is big into publicity, and a lot of people were ragging on him for the DACA thing. And I think he may be basically pulling a publicity stunt.
Maybe just to look more favorably in people's eyes who support DACA?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we wanted to kind of get some people's opinions on how they feel about Trump reaching across the aisle on DACA to work with the Democrats. Have you heard anything about that recently?
Yeah, I have. And, you know, I think it's a good thing that he's reaching across the aisle. I don't think it's necessarily something that his base has to be totally upset about, but I know they are. But
so you think the division going on in the base right now is a little bit of a non-issue? Maybe they should chill out a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a non-issue. I mean, not for them. I mean, it's a real issue for them, it seems to be. But I'm not informed enough to really say one way or the other. But I think it's a good idea that he's reaching across the aisle because I think that Trump has had some issues, you know, working with Congress and just sort of having any political clout.
What I think about that, which is pretty funny, is that whatever most people think they know, it's nonsense. So he's right there in D.C. and you've got to make deals. A lot of what he says, I kind of support, but I imagine, so he's probably got these issues that he cares a lot about and other ones that he cares a little less. It might just be a bargaining chip.
That's how he tweets. But how do you guys feel about him working with the Democrats, maybe working with them to reinstitute DACA, things along those lines, reaching across party lines?
I don't really know. I guess I agree with that. Like, it would be nice for him to work with the Democrats and have them on his side for good things.
Right.
I think it's great. Crossing party lines is not typical.
Right now, you're kind of shoveling against the tide, you know? And there's a lot of systems and there's a lot of people in place and a lot of things that already exist. So the reality of having any sort of large change on immigration is kind of unrealistic.
Do you think that America at large should get behind something like maybe if Trump could give the Democrats DACA, the Democrats would work with Trump to build the wall?
Well, I mean, that's how politics work. I mean, it's give and take. It's not something that you can just say, this is what I want, this is how it's got to be. You have to be able to negotiate and compromise and agree. I don't think that's necessarily the best way to go about things, but that's how it is in politics. I mean, I grew up in D.C. I have a pretty good idea of politics.
The Republican establishment don't want to support him. No, not surprising to me. So what does he do? Maybe he reaches across the aisle, threatens the Republicans, the establishment Republicans, by threatening to support something that the Democrats want. And then maybe that forces the Paul Ryans or whatever to start to listen to Trump a little.
And how would you feel if he took DACA and he said, look, he said to the Democrats, he said, like, I'll give you DACA, I'll make the Republicans work for it in Congress and I'll sign off on it if the Democrats decided to work with him for a wall. So a trade-off there. Is that something that you could support? Because Republicans don't like DACA, Democrats don't like the wall. Do you think that maybe they could compromise on both?
I think it's definitely a possibility. I could see some argument going on, but, you know, I think it's a possibility, yes.
Do you think that maybe they could come together and like compromise and agree, like maybe if the Democrats get DACA, the Democrats will work and help the Republicans build the wall? Do you think that that is a feasible thing that we could agree on?
I feel like politics is a lot more complicated than that, so I feel like there's going to be a lot more things that are going to go into it. Like realistically, yes, that could work, but I don't think it would.
I feel like someone's going to be mad no matter what happens.
That's a good point. Somebody's going to be mad no matter what.
Yeah.
You're wrong if you think you understand him. Everybody that's ever thought they understood him, anybody that ever thought they knew Trump, well, that's how he got you. And that's how he is where he is right now today, which is awesome. You know, whether you like him or you don't, the fact that he's there is very impressive. And I wouldn't necessarily look at what he says, but what he does.
Even if you disagree with Donald Trump, if you could, you know, maybe if Donald Trump comes to the middle and the Democrats come to the middle, if we can all just kind of come together, would you support people kind of getting together behind Trump just as a country, even if we don't agree with him, just for the sake of unity within the country? Would you guys support that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, maybe I don't agree with some of the things he's done, but if he can do some good things, I don't care who's in the chair doing it, who's signing it off. So
We have to, like, reach a true democracy, because right now it's so divided and, you know, people hate each other over, like, little shit.
But is there anything else you want to say on the unity of the country, people coming together, stuff like that?
There's a lot of the polarization we've seen is starting to turn around, and some would say that's probably because a lot of us are coming together to defeat a common enemy, being Donald Trump. Some would not say that, so it's just kind of things are changing from the way they've been for the past 8 years, and that's to be expected with a switch in party and everything in the way.
And maybe even if we disagree with Trump, like you do, or if you support him, that maybe we can at least get behind the president just as Americans. Do you think that that would be something that maybe could come out of this?
Well, I think as Americans, we should definitely stand together no matter what, no matter who the president is, just because that's what we were built on. So, like I said, I think no matter what happens, someone's going to be mad. But I think if we all stand together, the right decision will be made for us.
All right, that's a good point, because the mainstream media kind of paints this narrative that, like, you know, a Trump supporter or a former Trump supporter and somebody that dislikes Trump, like, absolutely hate each other, sit on the opposite sides of rooms and stuff. Yeah. But in the end, as Americans, we are all, you know, the same people. But I really appreciate you guys talking to me today. Go ahead and have a good day.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you. So after talking to a lot of different people with a lot of different beliefs, the main undercurrent between each person's argument was that people should be uniting, even if you disagree with DACA or the wall or President Trump or Democrats in general, whatever the case may be, we should be coming together as Americans and uniting behind the president. Even a lot of Democrats were saying that, like, look, if Trump can unite people, like, we should be united behind him. We don't need to continue with this division, because ultimately that's what's destroying the country. It's not Republicans or Democrats, it's the division between the American people. I hope that was informative. Don't let the mainstream media continue to get this idea into your head that Americans are ultimately divided and that we all hate each other, because that's clearly not the case. But anyways, for Infowars.com, this has been Jake Lloyd.
Survival Shield X2 Nascent Iodine. If you're interested in healthy thyroid, if you're interested in well-being, if you're interested in having a higher IQ, which this has been linked to, get your powerful Survival Shield X2 at InfoWarsStore.com.